All right, cyber traders, good afternoon and welcome on back here once again this Tuesday, March 21st. Great to have all of us back joining us here. Ryan, we have Michael, we had a couple more of us just a moment ago. Mark, Manuel, a moment ago, Mark and Lawrence. Great to have all of us back at least there, and great to have all of us back on social media, Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube. No LinkedIn, I think. There's a little glitch there, but nevertheless, Boyle ETF, natural gas ETF, making a pretty strong move here for the afternoon. So great to see Leda and John, Dan, all just joining us right now inside our live trading room here. So, hey, heading into the afternoon, we're going to put this on our watch list right away. We are pretty familiar with this Boyle ETF. Normally, it's, hey, we're going to trade equities because it's a lot easier to follow the big money and the iceberg orders on level 3, as well as level 4 compared to an ETF. Now, if you do have level 4 book map as it is, then at that point you could look to follow an ETF in general. But this Boyle in particular, we are as familiar with, honestly, as like, UVXY. When the markets tank and drop off extensively, UVXY will run up and, we'll trade it then. So at least for right now, this one, that's BIOL. BOIL. There we go. Boyle, we're going to put this on our watch list at least to begin right away. Cheap, very liquid. And for right now, I wrote to Ryan, as well as all of us, just publicly in the chat board there a moment ago. 5 and 510 are key levels for at least us here on the Boyle trade as resistance. Give me a quick moment. I normally don't have the chance to do this, actually. Just do a little snip right here from our live trading room just a moment ago, just to kind of comment on what's ahead here for all of us in social media. 5 and 510 are big levels for Boyle. That was right at 2:25 Eastern time. So as of now, it shook down off the high here to 474. But we'll see if it can make a higher low, build back up, and end up hitting that 5 or otherwise 510 level. And if not today, then hey, we'll check in tomorrow morning early pre-market. It's definitely tradable heading into tomorrow either way. So good start so far with Boyle. Nice afternoon run. Markets are crawling back up right now. We had said this before, but with the Fed meeting concluding tomorrow, we're not going to see a whole lot of traction within the market altogether. You're going to get a little up move here, a little down move there. But look at the range; it really isn't doing a whole lot. The S&P and the SPY in particular. So, if you're looking for a big pop up heading into the close, you can remain optimistic. It's better to be optimistic than to be pessimistic, right? Just don't look to hope and hold all the way through, especially if you haven't hit your day's pay yet. Well, hey, the final hour of the day is that time then to try and lock it up. So don't get cocky, don't get crazy, don't hope and hold in that nature, but take it level by level, right? Hopefully the SPY does blast up higher, but we'll see if it can end up breaking above this little local resistance it's built today so far, roughly off of what is that, like 397.50-ish roughly, go up a little bit, like right there, 397.40-ish right there. We'll see. But yeah, Boyle on our list so far. Let's just go from top to bottom otherwise here. Now, I didn't catch this from earlier. I thought Mark made a typo in the chat board. It was like USX buyout. I didn't even care to look at the news because we don't trade buyouts. So I personally knew to all right, and move away from it either way. But now it popped up on my scanner like just across the morning. I didn't see this at first today. So yeah, actually USX stock, but this is why we don't, trade buyouts. Buy the rumor, sell the news. That's a different story. So saying that, I think there's another one, maybe UBX, was it? There was a stock earlier today that we ended up, I think, even putting on our watch list. I'll check in with it in just a moment. Maybe it was the QNCX, perhaps. That was the rumored buyout. Yeah, this is it, I think. This is the one that popped in pre-market early, but ended up having a nice little push early, but it was off alleged rumors of a buyout. So had a nice push for pre-market, dumped off after the open or shortly after, hasn't done a whole lot since. So now, obviously, this trade, it's probably, what is it, number 3 on the gainers list right now? Either way, we're not going to trade this right now, or at least just yet. If it could blast up a little bit higher from here, then I'll be more convinced of another run into the close. But I'm not looking for like 5 or 7 cents on this. I'd be looking for another 20 to 30 if this can make the big pop that we'd want to see it make. So for right now, not too convinced just yet on this one. All right, I skipped over this pair trade. We'll go from top to bottom now. We did really well on ALT from loser side as a short. Did very nicely on that trade out the gate this morning. I want to go over that. A couple more here as well. So pair, little pop shortly after the open around 10, 10, 15, but not much to it after. CISO, just we didn't really follow that too much. All right, we keep it going here for right now. I'll kind of just skim through. I'm not going to go over every singular one, but FRC, I have to kind of stop here. Bank stock, we've had our eyes on this since like really 2 weeks ago at this point, really week and a half, 2 weeks ago. That's when the banking stocks all ended up getting crushed, the regional ones at least. And as you can clearly see here, a pretty sharp drop right now. This might be getting halted live. So let's just tap into this, see if this ends up getting halted here right around 16 bucks. It's dropping off fast enough to expect it. Let's see if the HFT start kicking in here. Look at time and sales. Let's see if we get a string of green coming in here on the tape, and that's when you could begin to try and tell. Looks like it's pushing back up for the meantime, so avoiding the halt in the interim. That was a fast drop, though. What was that, like a easily a 2 point drop since 2 o'clock, but even over the last 4, 5, 6 bars, so 4, 5, 6 minutes, that was a pretty fast drop there for FRC. We did pretty well on this heading into the open. A few of us inside our live trading room. I was on PACW. We had talked about that in our Traders Talk workshop earlier today. Kind of right place, right time, at least for myself on PACW. But FRC was the better mover. It was the bigger gainer, more volatile stock, but the bigger percent gainer. Ended up making a nice squeeze all the way up towards just about 20. Made the lower high off 19, then from there came back down just now. So, yeah, definitely avoiding the down halt with this 50-cent retracement back up. Looks like 16 held as support here for the meantime. Hey, it was needling that support all throughout the late morning, early afternoon. And just now, actually made a very, very good slingshot just there. Under and over right from 16. Hey, if someone was looking for that type of bounce or hopeful for a sharper move back up into the close, then that's a very good start for you. I don't mind putting this on our watch list either way. I mean, just it's so volatile, and I say that in a good way. It's within our price range. The spread isn't ungodly. It's right there for us. And PACW even more. This stock ended up having a great pullback. We caught this live in Traders Talk exactly off that level, 1137. So, that was a key level heading into the market open. It ended up shaking around there early, a lot more for my liking early at first. So ended up getting chopped up at first. Nice little win, but then like took a couple tiny losses, then jumped in off 1160, ran it up, and then from there caught the bottom perfectly off that 1137. Really nice move. And for the meantime, with the FRC trade, I'm going to just kind of tag PACW along with it. If you're looking for a slower trade, slower bank stock, that's okay. There are others. So you don't need to trade those as long as there's others out there that are like actually giving you a chance. This is like very slow moving. It's almost like too flat. I mean, across the last hour and a half, I reckon it's still making higher lows slowly. So I like that part of it. NYCB as well. It is shortable. It's pulling back down a bit. In terms of just a cleaner move heading into the afternoon of those two, at least, I'd kind of focus on Key. So what do we got? We got Boyle, we got FRC, we got PACW, and we'll slip Key Bank back on there. The WAL is too crazy. That was like probably the craziest from the last week or so. Not just that it's getting a little bit more expensive, but it was on a 13 to 20 cent spread last week. I guess right now it's starting to fill in a little bit, but it's just not worth it. There's other ones that you could trade, cheaper ones that you could trade, and just overall ones that you could follow the icebergs better on. All right. So what else we got here, though? I do want to get to that ALT, like I said, from the loser side. SY, just wanted to look at that one pretty quickly. STBX, not much there. IBRX, it's kind of at the highs, but I just going to pass on it for right now. I'll write it down for the side list, though. Come back to it maybe around 3 o'clock if it ends up gaining more steam. We missed out on a pretty good move earlier today on the SOUN. Nice AI trade. Ended up running back up once again. This thing took a huge hit from the last couple weeks, but we did really well on the stock back from mid of January, pretty much across that month into Feb. So we're familiar with this stock. Along that, AI, obviously AI sector, AI stock here. This looks really strong. I like this the best. So definitely AI, the stock, we'll put on our list. You got BBAI also. This one had a pretty sharp run heading into the late morning, and pretty much as we were conducting our workshop earlier. Almost looks like it's setting up for a big break off the highs, like kind of like trend line off the highs there, looking for a big pop back up. Don't get me wrong, it's possible, but you want to follow a stock that's kind of closer to the highs there. Like this looks really flat, but it's closer to the highs there. So, you know what? We are familiar with SOUN. We're familiar with AI. I'll put both of those there on our list. All right, we keep it moving. I got to get this price column out here every time. Every time here at this price column. Pain in the butt. I don't like going through the more expensive ones, the less expensive ones, kind of like just right down the middle, like the others that we caught. SLQT, this is pretty cheap, but nice little move up for right now. I mean, I could put this on our side list, come back to this kind of slow. All right, so far we got 2, 4, yeah, 6 different tickers on our list, 5 stocks and an ETF. I feel like that's the beginning of like a bar joke. All right, let's just jump over to the loser side right now, see what's on there. I mean, this ALT, again, just to go over this from the morning session, what a short. Ended up dropping off as soon as the market opened up. No lower high, then the real big break off 660 and 650 there. Dropped all the way down, 0.50 lower. So down to 5. Beautiful bounce at first, but then it obviously continued to pull back. And over time, the more and more selling that you would have off this level, you would imagine for it to break much lower. So heading into lunchtime, well, it ended up holding support again. Hey, it took a little while for it to move off there to begin with, so this should hold initially. Had a nice reaction, and then since, well, hey, heading into the early to mid afternoon, you shouldn't be expecting a whole lot. That could be very easy to say looking at what's happening right now. It's not really doing a whole lot. There are plenty of times where we see some stronger moves at this time. So, that's a very hindsight comment to say, but, also what we preach inside our live trading room every single day. Well, hey, the more times that this can nip under the level, this could be a hell of a short. So it's down a lot already. I know that, down 54%. But let me ask you, how much lower could this stock go? Looks like this thing's been like split beyond eternity earlier here, back from like 2018, 2016 there. Jeez. Sam says to 0. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's approaching lows back from earlier last year. It's got a ways to go actually for that. 383, the low back from May of 22. But, hey, as far as a trade opportunity, the more this could stab under this level, it's already under it, it could lead to a pretty sharp drop. Otherwise, if it fails to do that closer towards 3:30 Eastern time, 3:15, 3:30, is it possible for it to make one more bounce? Yeah, it's actually down enough where, hey, if it's not going to break any lower, why not think the other way? Let's respect the trend first, though, on the way down, and we'll try and focus on a short here for the ALT. All right, what else we got here? AG, another stock that we, I think, put on our watch list early this morning. I didn't have as much focus on this compared to the Pac W. Listen, you can only focus on so many at a time. So, hey, if I'm focused on Pac W, you might have Sam focused on AG. I'm just shooting from the hip with that. Maybe Mark on ALT, maybe Michael on Key, whatever it may be. That's how we kind of work together in general. Once I get out of a trade, might look to focus on something else. But hey, much like ALT, I personally missed out on the AG trade from the morning. Silver stock ended up getting crushed right out the gate. Ended up dropping off just about like a point lower, pretty much close to it. This one's definitely flat now, so pass on it. But maybe write it down for tomorrow morning. Check in if it has similar activity as it did here. If it does, then I'll be more interested in it for tomorrow. VKTX, just skipping it around here really quickly. VKTX, we had talked about this earlier in Traders Talk. We kind of finished off the workshop by kind of scanning for this trade, just kind of moving around, seeing what's moving throughout the market, and just kind of stumbled upon it. Broke under 10, and then from there re-broke under, hint, hint, and then from there dropped lower. So nice trade. And you know what? I mean, hey, it's tradable, but I don't have like a huge desire, huge need to follow that right now. Again, if it was closer to the lows, different story. Uh, TME $7. I don't know what happened there. I mean, I guess it had a huge run up back from January. I didn't really focus in on this trade as much since. So, yeah, since the beginning of this year, it flattened out, but ran up heading into the end of last year. Take your eyes off of stock. I just remember how slow this was back in the end of last year, October into December. It was like $3 stock. So thankfully more expensive. It could move a little bit better. It did drop off pretty nicely from the morning session, but again, pretty flat. All right. I think that we're pretty much at the bottom of the barrel here, folks. On the loser side, at least, if there's anything else looking good on the way up, type it in the chat board. Definitely let me know now. I'm going to take a look at a couple stocks I'd said I'd go back to. IBRX. It doesn't hurt us to put this on our list. It's at the highs, right? Really tight spread, more of a level one trade. So let's see what else is out there. You could say the same exact thing on SLQT. The issue with SLQT is that it's like really not trading a lot of volume per minute. It hasn't all day. So, if I'm going one over the other, I will go the IBRX and then the ALT. I think I slipped on there already, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. All right, so from Andre Riot, from John SoFi, we'll take a look at both. Riot moving back up pretty nicely. Don't get teased by the crypto stocks. Mara, though, is pushing up really well. So of the two, I'd be more inclined to focus on Mara, just looking at this so far, as well as I'm sure you could say Coinbase. Coinbase actually on a really good move up over 11%. I'll slip Coinbase in particular on our list. I feel like there's like more traction for a potential short squeeze on Coinbase compared to like Mara and Riot, the crypto miners, compared to Coinbase crypto exchange. So, that's a thought. If I'm wrong with that, so be it. They're all going to move in a relatively similar manner. It's just that these crypto stocks in general, all of them, you've heard it from me all before, folks. If you've been a member of our live trading room, if you hear me on social media each and every day yap about it, these stocks do not make as clean of a move heading into the final hour and a half here, hour and 15 minutes here, as you would want them to, as we typically see these stocks can make, like, in the morning, or other stocks, the non-crypto stocks make a big pop into the close. You'd want to see the same happen here. I'm sure one day I'll have egg on my face and I'll be wrong with that. Is it possible they crawl higher into the close, or, make a little move up? Yeah, absolutely. But there's better stocks to follow in general, I feel. And that's just from experience. That's from like 3 to 4 years of following these stocks in general. So, Coinbase, I'll put on our list. Mara, it doesn't hurt us, but we'll see. If you really want to go for them, they're definitely tradable. That's why I'm putting them on there. But personally, I'll probably more focus PAC-W, my bread and butter for today. Maybe AI. That AI did really well on over the last month. So, I'm kind of upset I missed out on that AI trade a little bit there from the morning into the afternoon. And I don't want to keep talking, because the more I talk, the more I miss out on this. So I think I'll tell you what, folks, I think that we're pretty much all wrapped up right now. SoFi is not going to really go anywhere there, John. It's just too slow. DraftKings at the highs, good side list stock there, Mike. Definitely nice and tradable. But I feel like there's just better movers, like worth more the opportunity now. All right, folks. So I think that's going to wrap it up for me here. So for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, I shouldn't say LinkedIn because we got a small issue there. But if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a quick email, josh@c2trading.com. That's the handle. But otherwise, feel free to shoot me any emails or questions that you'd want to go over with on the side. If you're interested in joining our live trading room, though, just go right down to the link coming up here on the banner below, right there on the bottom right there, just to get yourself set up and started. But for Michael, Franny, Bell, and Sam, Leda, Phil, and all of us just there live right now. And I catch my tongue here, but Rich will be on coming up at 3 o'clock to tag me out. But I'll be back on coming up just in chat coming up here in just a moment, folks. Take care.